Will, this is our first after work podcast recording.
Is it? No, the last one was.
Oh,
last one
yeah,
was
it's just
evening.
not dark.
Yeah, remember we
just
talked about it's not dark. Yeah, so this is right before dusk, whereas the last one it was spooky outside.
Yeah. Still very cold though. So
spooky, just like the topic today.
Yeah. How did I want to? I had like a very specific way that I wanted to introduce this. It's gonna be our darkest episode, I think, just because of like how prevalent and relevant. Like, it's gonna be hard to make jokes. I think.
Darkest. Yeah, no, this probably is just gonna be the most informational topic episode where we just kind of like talk about stuff and
it's not gonna
we're
be
like scared.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like it's not gonna prevent us from trying to joke. It's just all the jokes probably won't land because of how somber the topic is. Yeah. But it's all about, your personal viewpoints as well. Like, if you have positive experiences with being watched, if you're into voyeurism, then maybe...
What's the opposite of voyeurism? What's like being watched? I don't know.
Topic for today is the history and projection of surveillance in the U.S. and what it could mean.
What it could mean, our fears, where it came from, and the fact that it's never curtailed by the government and their goddamn every instance of them being like, hey, let's cut their power a little bit. It literally does nothing. It's
yeah, like it's
gotta say, don't like it.
It's only grown and grown. There hasn't been a lot to stop the surveillance of powerful governments' populations, whoever they're presiding over. Kind of concerning, I guess, but like also there's no way to escape it. There's no way. Yeah. When I was
it's kind of like it's kind of like nuclear weapons. Not to cut you off, sorry. It's kind of like nuclear weapons where it's like countries need them because. Yeah. Other countries have them. So it's like we can't escape the reality of having these ultra-powerful, you might call them deep states, of like independent organizations that don't really have any like oversight because other countries have them and fuck with us, so we need them to fuck back with them. But then they also fuck with their own citizens. So it's like, God damn, you can't win.
Yeah. So for this episode, you're going to listen to two idiots talk to you idiots about our thoughts after learning a little bit more about the history of surveillance, the technology involved, and how and why it's come to become inescapable.
Oh, yes. All right. Do we want to start at the beginning of time? Let's take it all the way back.
I'm just going to kind of try to focus on the U.S., but in my research, apparently surveillance and spying has been a big old deal since about the Civil War, and probably even before that.
I didn't go that far back.
The Civil War in the U.S. was probably the first time when people were really starting to heighten in their levels of paranoia, because people didn't like being at war with their own country. Obviously, war is bad, and so a lot of defectors were cropping up, and that just caused people to be like, hey, gotta watch these people. Like, what if they drop out? What if they stop helping? Or what if they're fighting for the other side secretly? So
right, and that could have easily sparked one of the initial American values of spying on your own citizenry, because the Civil War was each other, and then it ends, and then they go, okay, but are there still separatists? And then that turns into spying on your own citizens for fear of them being treasonous. Yep. And then that goes into what we well know today about people like the government being overly afraid of, terrorists and treason and whatnot.
Yeah, and it all kind of goes back to fear and money, I guess, because people would make money off of knowing how to wiretap and cross each other's wires and like decipher codes, because the main technology of transferring information was letter writing, so a lot of letter were intercepted, and telegrams, which were usually Morse code. So yeah, all that was.
And Morse code's very easy to intercept.
Yeah, you literally
very
just
easy.
tie a wire to the wire that's transmitting, and you just
it's just electrical signal.
Yep.
It's like watching somebody flicker a light through a window from a block away. It's like, yeah, it's kind of annoying, but you can really easily do it.
Yeah.
Like,
in the U.S., the earliest statute prohibiting wiretapping was in California. Surprise, surprise. In 1862. Yeah.
Oh.
But then it wasn't really a problem.
Yeah, you definitely went way earlier than me.
Because the war was over, and people didn't care about eavesdropping as much. I don't know. Slavery was over.
It was easier to hide, too, back then. Like, ooh, they were intercepting Morse code, ooh, but they couldn't really listen in on your conversation. So it's like nobody cared. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You know?
At that point, it kind of died down. Like, concern for it died down a lot until, like, the 1920s, because wiretapping was usually just used by, like, private detectives and corporations, like, spying on each other.
Right.
But then, fucking, the war on drugs comes in and rears its ugly fucking head. And the government had another reason to try to spy on the people, because everyone was making their own booze with prohibition.
True. Although, right before that was the Black Chamber. Did you read anything about Black Chamber?
What's that?
It's not huge or anything. It's just one of the first, like, actual, like, intelligence organizations for, like, cryptography and whatnot. It was just like a 1919 to 1929, right after World War I, coming out of the war, you know, when they were coming out of programs from intercepting foreign comms, and was a State Department and Army program funded by both that was just meant to intercept diplomatic communications between other nations, because, you know, we like to know what's going on so we can, you know, have the upper hand. So that just kind of, like, laid the groundwork, as far as I'm aware, for, like, a fully federal funded program specifically to intercept intelligence.
Yeah.
And then they got a bunch of, like, private, as we well know with this country, a bunch of private businesses like Western Union and other cable industry businesses to just give them the information. Like, they didn't really do a whole lot of work themselves. They're just like, hey, give us the comms. Give it to us.
So it begins.
And they did it.
I guess that was,
and then
like,
eventually they jumped out of it, and the State Department withdrew funding, and the Army was like, fuck this, we don't want to pay for it ourselves. And then they abandoned it, luckily. But, you know, that didn't end everything, obviously. So, yeah, that was right before the program you're about to talk about.
Yeah, I guess I kind of glossed over the invention of the radio, which was, like, the new thing to pay attention to. With Guglielmo Marconi from, where's Italy? He invented the radio, and that was, like, a big thing.
No idea what you just said. Guglielmo Marconi, that's all I heard.
Yeah, whatever. I think that's how you say his name. I just like saying it. Even if it's wrong, I like saying it wrong. But yeah, during, like, Prohibition, the Constitution was discussed by the Supreme Court to see if it was, you know, constitutional to wiretap, or for, like,
yes.
The federal wiretapping and monitoring of citizens, if police were allowed to wiretap, if it was moral, and, you know, narrowly passed. And the slippery slope gets rolling right there. I feel like that's probably the spark that kind of caused...
Oh, yeah, because everything I found was definitely, like, it's Black Chamber, like, after World War I, but most of the stuff that I read was, like, right after Prohibition. Yeah. So you're definitely right that it was a slippery slope of them being like, oh, damn, we can get away with this shit. Yeah. That was FBI, right?
Yes. FBI and police. Yeah.
The FBI, we do love them.
Wait, was the FBI even? Yeah, the FBI. Yeah. And then also another big womp of why spying on your own citizens is bad for the population is because during the 1930s and, like, after the Great Depression, it was found that wiretapping was pretty useful for rooting out unionization attempts.
Ayo!
Yeah. They
Gotta
don't
love
like
it.
that. So corporate management
don't
would
like that shit.
would spy on their own employees, and if they were considered that they were like trying to make a union, can't do that.
No. Not allowed to do that.
But
union
even
busting.
then, it wasn't really seen as a national problem until like 20 years later. People, I guess, were fine with fucking their unions getting busted the shit out of. For like 20
Wait, do you mean
years.
wiretapping or do you mean union busting?
Both.
Okay, well, yeah. Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
unions are dead anyway, but
yeah, I don't know this. I don't know the history of unions as well. I didn't research that. I only researched surveillance.
Yeah. Honestly, but even with like citizen surveillance, it didn't really seem to. It kind of became an issue at that time, like from the 40s to the 60s and whatnot, but nobody really cared until like 2000.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And then not even until like Snowden did like people really give a shit.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
They've just been getting away with this stuff with like secret programs.
And my conspiracy is that we both know the CIA has been a thing since at least the 40s. So they've probably been like really on the ball of getting the U.S. people to be very complacent about being monitored, especially in 1965. They were able to like get their grasps into the minds of the people, whereas being surveilled is just kind of a necessary thing. Like it's a necessary evil. Like in order for your safety, you have to be monitored. And it was like a way. They convinced the people. It's
kind of like an abusive boyfriend.
Yeah, they convinced the people. Yeah, exactly. They convinced the U.S. people that in order to root out crime at its source, the monitoring of everyone to keep everyone safe was necessary. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
With no consent or democratic input.
Oh, goodness, no consent, no. Even the courts barely even tried to enforce that onto these programs. If you'd let me, I'd like to go over some more programs.
Sure.
Real quick.
Yeah, I'm kind of just glossing over shit.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. You're not even explaining anything. Hey, I barely will either. This is idiots. So as I said, it was Black Chamber, and then that kind of didn't go anywhere until the FBI started gaining more power and started doing their prohibition shit and finding bootleggers and whatnot. And one of the first, like, I said Black Chamber was like one of the first official, but like really like official stuff, like this is starting to get into like NSA and whatnot, was Project Shamrock, which was 1945, coming out of World War II, kind of like a program by like what would become the NSA, but wasn't yet the NSA because that was technically founded in 1952, where they were accumulating telegraph data, entering and exiting the U.S., just anything entering and exiting the U.S., didn't matter what.
Yeah.
They printed out, at its height, they had printed out 150,000 messages and analyzed them. This was under the NSA, which is the data collection agency. A lot of people don't realize the NSA is not a formal organization like the CIA or FBI where they actually do things. They're a data collection agency that they're specifically created to collect data and give it to things like the FBI and CIA because the FBI and CIA can't legally do that stuff.
Oh, so it's just like a loophole.
It's a loophole.
Oh.
So, yeah, you gotta love it. And the Project Shamrock was terminated in 1975.
What a name, by the way.
Yeah, right. When the DOJ finally was like, "Hey, now you're abusing wiretap laws and you're violating laws and whatnot." And one of the quotes that came out of that report was literally, and if this doesn't sum up all of like the mentality of the intelligence agencies, I don't know what does.
Oh boy.
So the DOJ review said, quote, "If the intelligence agencies possessed too much discretionary authority with too little accountability, That would seem to be a 35-year failing of presidents and the Congress rather than the agencies or their personnel. Unquote.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
So pretty much like, hey, they were breaking laws and violating, civil liberties, but what can we say? That was the president and Congress's fault. That's not us. Yeah. You gotta fucking love it.
That is absurd. That is so absurd.
So that got terminated, and then secretly...
Wait. Especially when you consider how much influence like the CIA has had over Congress and the presidency since their inception.
Exactly.
Like, that's fucking insane. I can't get over that.
It doesn't make any sense because they're specifically made to not have oversight by the president. Like, the president appoints like cabinet positions that oversee these things, but they're really completely independent wings.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no, like, Senate committees. Ooh, oh my God. Oh, the rubber stamp of approval that never actually fucking cares.
But it's purposefully designed that way as well.
Well, right, of course. It's meant, it's the neoliberal facade of, yeah, this is okay. We're going to pretend that we approved this and we looked into it. Exactly.
No, you didn't.
So
anyway, sorry.
Project Shamrock. Project Shamrock was officially terminated, but the program that was outed by Snowden's leaks, Echelon, was, I believe, if I'm not remembering incorrectly, is pretty much was the unofficial. Was it Echelon? Hold on one second. Give me a moment to look.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Check my notes.
I think that's right.
Unless I'm a fucking idiot, which, hey, that'd be on brand. But Echelon was the secret, continuation of Shamrock. Yeah, here it is. Okay. According to James Bamford in a review, I believe this was in... I guess it doesn't matter. Sorry for all these second-guessing myself. But
no worries.
Shamrock was secretly extended into the Project Echelon, which turned into like the big thing that Snowden, one of the big things that Snowden leaked. Okay. And that was a program run by, God, the names of these things is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So
Shamrock, Echelon, what the
Echelon was run by the UK-USA agreement, which is an agreement between Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the UK, and the United States. And it was formed in 1971, around the same time Shamrock was terminated. And the 5 countries that ran it were unofficially called the Five Eyes. If that's not some shady-ass shit, I don't get... What is with them in naming these things specifically to, like
eyes, like eyeball?
Sound.
Like that you see with?
Yeah. Five eyes, EYES, like 5 eyes looking at you.
Creepy.
So it was just a program. According to later documents, it was as an NSA computer network in general. Lockheed and Martin made it. It was called P415 by them. The software programs themselves are called Silkworth and Sire, and the satellite that intercepted the comms was called Vortex. And then it was also the actual collection of data was called Foreign Satellite Collection, or ForeignSat.
Yeah, I feel like it's all like that nesting of shit that just allows them to get away with it and like hide everything.
Yes,
easily.
It's programs within programs, names within names, double naming things. You'll find a lot of those where there's 2 names for things.
Yeah.
But this program was made specifically during the Cold War to intercept comms, military and diplomatic of Soviet Union and Eastern Bloc states. Of course, Cold War shit. So you can kind of understand where it's coming from. But then by 2000, it evolved into just global surveillance.
Yeah.
It was just surveilling everyone, European businesses, American citizens, Russian shit. Like, everyone was just being surveilled by this.
Will,
and
information is
in 1999,
valuable.
It is valuable. It is money. Actually, it is.
Yeah.
In 1999, Australian finally admitted that the UK-USA agreement operations were true because news reports were reporting on this. Like, they were finding whistleblowers and they were finding documents that were talking about the SIF. So Australia finally was like, yeah, fuck it. It's real.
Oh.
And then the former director of the CIA in 2000 admitted, without naming programs, that the U.S. was monitoring European businesses. And this was Echelon. And then in 2000 to 2001, the European Parliament had a committee that did a review and report on Echelon and pretty much was like, yes, this is real.
Oh my.
But then they were going to go to the U.S. to have meetings with the CIA, DOC, and NSA. And then after the committee was like, yeah, this is real, the U.S. canceled the meetings and then denied the existence of the program and was like, fuck you.
What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So of course
the
not
U.S.
a denial, Will. That's an admission.
Exactly.
If you cancel that shit,
and then
you obviously.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my.
You gotta love how stupid the U.S. is. I swear to God. Oh. And then this all was kind of just nothing until Snowden finally did the leaks on Echelon.
Yeah. Also, like the fact that he got in so much trouble is another admission of guilt.
Yeah, and he's still not pardoned. And it's like the laws around whistleblowers are that if you're, it's so stupid. It's so un-American if you think about it. But the laws around whistleblowers are, if you're a part of a governmental program that's doing something wrong, to whistleblow, you're supposed to submit a report to your boss.
Yeah.
In the program.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to go to review within the who the fuck thinks that would work? So of course they're going to illegally whistleblow,
right? And
then they're tried for treason and they have to fucking flee to Russia like Snowden did. And it's like that, and then things like Project Shamrock, which was seen as one of the biggest for the time, and it wasn't even that big compared to now, one of the biggest breaches of privacy, was secretly funneled into a new program called Echelon for another 50 years, or sorry, not another 50 years, another 40 years.
Basically 50.
And we still barely have any oversight on things like the NSA. We have nominal legislation that controls their powers, but who knows? We know the CIA has unlimited power. Yeah. Who knows what happened to the NSA, the FBI? They're out murdering fucking civil rights leaders.
Now I know what they mean when they say information economy. This is
yeah.
But also what does un-American even mean, Will?
Well, it's very American if you think about it, but it's American now.
Yeah.
It's not the stereotypical American when you think about the revolution and what conservatives appeal to, while they're appealing to revolutionary mindsets in traditional American mindsets in the fucking 1700s, and then they're also defending things like the CIA and NSA.
Wait, I just thought it's if you think of the phrase, if you see something, say something, except if it's about us, then gun emoji.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah, exactly.
You can't say
water
anything.
Gun emoji.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Wait, are you done with your organization history?
I researched the FBI, but it kind of led me astray from
God, you're brave
intelligence.
As fuck.
And it kind of just turned into me looking into Japanese internment and civil rights attacks.
Speaking of civil rights.
Oh,
you know how I said in the mid 1960s the normative political position on surveillance was it's fine, it's a necessary evil, it has to exist in order for the protection and safety of the state. What was also happening in the 60s but the civil rights movement and convenient, I guess, but wiretapping and spying on your own citizens was disproportionately targeting African Americans and Latinos as part of the war on drugs. Fuck. Mm-hmm. So, again, drugs coming up as another excuse to fight terror and crime inside the country by spying on your own citizens.
And most of the individuals that they were spying on were civil rights leaders like Malcolm X, MLK.
Fred Hampton.
They were leftist. Fred Hampton. Oh, well, don't
watch Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah,
out in 2 weekends.
I need to read the Fred Hampton book. But so civil rights leaders, and then vocal left-leaning civil rights activists,
and
actors and actresses.
Yep.
And then civil rights lawyers, and then Democrat politicians.
Oh, whoa.
Like, those were the main, like, in terms of, like, big names on their blacklists, those were it.
Yeah.
Those were the names. It's just civil rights.
Just another
like,
example of telling on yourselves. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
So until the 1980s, it was kind of like an individual thing. Like you said, like people were being targeted specifically to like track. But like now that technology has progressed so much and everyone has access, I think like mostly this started in the 90s with like the internet, the birth of the internet. Basically, people grew more concerned because, you know, they realized that everyone could be surveilled because everyone had this access, you know. And then up until 2012, there was another Supreme Court case that ruled against the police, actually. Big surprise.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Because they said they put a big kibosh on placing GPS trackers on cars unless you had a warrant. So a lot of this shady stuff was still allowed if you had a warrant, but you know how warrants go, and like there's just a lot of coercion and shit as well. Same thing with like cell phone information. Couldn't access cell phone history unless you had a warrant. But you know, the NSA still tracks all this shit anyway. And like they're not really concerned. So like this goes back to like the death of individual targeting. They're not concerned with what you're saying, but like who you're calling, where you are, and like what sites you're visiting.
Who has your number?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's important to them.
A suspect has your number, you're now a suspect. Yeah, it's like this gets into, I found an Intercept article that really gets into like blacklisting. Yeah. Like the intelligence agency blacklisting, and it's just, they openly say this isn't about concrete evidence. It's about dictating terrorism, but they define terrorism as low as harming government property.
Or drugs.
Officially. Yeah, or drugs. And I'll link the Intercept article where they exposed a whole internal document that was like telling agents and the workers what this stuff means, and being like, yeah, we're not concerned with concrete evidence. We're not concerned with legality. We're not concerned with any of that stuff. We're concerned if there's even the slightest chance they could be connected.
Yeah. They're just sifting through the easiest.
The slightest chance their name could be used. Yeah. Like, people on the list who die remain on the list in case somebody uses their name. And then their family members, once they die, their names are placed on the list because their names could be used by bad people.
Oh my God. Yeah, but that's basically all I had to say. Like, up until, I think, what was it, like 2012, when Snowden leaked everything about the internal spying. Yeah. And now it's kind of like big can of worms, and everyone's kind of aware that it's kind of impossible to escape being monitored. And you know, just kind of coping and living with that in a imperialist capitalist society.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have a good quote about that, with the living with this technology and with the knowledge of people surveilling you, because the 1975 committee that exposed Operation Shamrock, the Church Committee, led in the Senate. And that led to the establishment of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, which does fuck all.
SEC.
Specifically,
wait, what is the abbreviation? Not the SEC. That's economic.
The SSCI.
Oh, yes.
So the Senate began to realize, oh man, these intelligence agencies are really overstepping, and we're starting to get some flack for this. So they did a committee. One of the main things they were looking at was state-sanctioned assassination attempts on people like Patrice Lumumba of Zaire, Rafael Trujillo of the Dominican Republic.
Wait, not even in the U.S.?
No, like foreign assassinations.
Okay.
No Dien Diem of South Vietnam, Rene Schneider of Chile, and Castro as well, obviously.
Yeah.
And they made all of this very public, and Gerald Ford was like begging them not to, and they were like, fuck you, and they made it public anyway. which awesome.
Yeah.
That led to Executive Order 11905, which banned U.S. sanctioned assassinations of foreign leaders. Which, do I remember Trump bombing a foreign general and killing him? I thought. Wait, hold on.
Not even. What about Obama? What about?
Well, okay,
Bush?
we don't need it. Yeah, we don't need to get into that fucking evil bitch. Yeah, he.
Wait, it's been happening still. It's not illegal. People.
Oh yeah. No, it's not. Hey, maybe there was another executive order that scrubbed that. Nobody knew about it. So they made that public, but covert operations were kept secret, obviously, because the Senate's beholden to the fucking intelligence agencies. And they also uncovered the NSA's watch list, which had millions of names and thousands of U.S. citizens. Which wasn't published until Snowden, obviously.
Yeah.
And that the CIA and FBI opened 215,000 pieces of mail between the 50s and 73, and specifically did it while keeping it secret from the USPS. So the CIA and FBI were going in, sneaking mail away into another room, literally into another room, opening it. And then resealing them putting them back.
What were they looking for?
And this was so obvious that people began to figure out ways to make very specific, counterfeitable wax seals for letters and shit, so that you could know if your shit was opened. It was they were really bad at keeping a secret.
What were they looking for?
The quote that
what was the purpose of opening mail?
They just monitoring. They're looking for commies, man.
Just
so
information.
The quote I was talking about.
The more information you have, the richer you are.
Yeah, the more power is money, and the more information you have, the more power you have. So
communitive property.
The leader of this committee was Senator Frank Church, which is why it's called the Church Committee, and he had a big long quote that I won't read the whole thing about, but yeah, no, it is. It's a pretty big name in this topic. He went on NBC to talk about this. But he didn't name the NSA, obviously, because we didn't know about them we didn't even know NSA existed until Snowden. But he went on the NBC to talk about the NSA without naming them, and he had a big, long quote that I won't read the whole thing about, but he talked about how the United States government, he openly said this, had the capability to intercept transmissions through the air, like radio transmissions, and collect information on everybody, even American people.
What year was this?
This was... The quote itself, I don't know, but the committee was in 1975, so I imagine 1975 to 80 somewhere.
Oh my God!
So he was talking about the technology. So he said, "quote there would be no place to hide. If this government ever became a tyranny, if a dictator ever took charge in this country, the technological capacity that the intelligence community has given the government could enable it to impose total tyranny, and there would be no way to fight back because the most careful effort to combine together in resistance to the government, no matter how privately it was done, is within the reach of the government to know. Such is the capability of this technology," end quote. So even back then...
That is a great quote. That is a really good quote.
A senator went on national TV and said this, and nobody gave a fuck.
My God.
But
and then the CIA was wringing their hands.
Yeah.
No one cares.
And there were actual politicians who critiqued this committee, saying that it hamstrung the NSA to the point that it caused 9/11. They literally say...
Were they Republicans?
They happen to be conservative, yes. So they are literally dumbasses who blame 9/11 on people just being like, hey, maybe don't spy on our citizens, man. I hate people.
Bro, what?
I hate people.
Okay, so well that I guess that goes that supports their the thing that Bush did after 9/11.
Patriot Act?
Very popular. Yeah, the Patriot Act.
Which, fun fact, has expired June 2020. It has not been reauthorized yet. It will be probably, but it hasn't been yet.
Yeah, okay, so I don't know. Have you seen the movie Vice? This is a huge tangent. We might make this
movie
up.
Vice? No.
Okay, so the movie Vice is all about Dick Cheney's life. Up to his time as vice president.
Dick Cheney.
And
God damn it.
I think it's a really good movie. It's by the directors and writers of Step Brothers. Doesn't mean it's funny. It's in fact very depressing. But if you watch that movie, it's very easy to watch, very digestible, and it basically proves and like says, without saying, without being too obvious, that it was the intention of the U.S. government and deep state to essentially provoke and allow 9/11 so that they could do the Patriot Act. I don't know what you do. What is the verb for that?
Enact.
Enact the Patriot Act and go to war with the Middle East.
Yeah.
So
with the false presumption of WMDs, which was, am I wrong? Was proven false, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And proven false, and also the U.S. government funded Al Qaeda for a long time.
Yeah.
So, they were friends.
I'm pretty sure we fucking fund proto ISIS too.
Yes.
Dude, this is like the meme I sent you where it's like fucking CIA funded militias in the Middle East attacking Pentagon funded militias in the Middle East.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It doesn't make it. It's the perpetual. I mean, you can relate this to 1984. It was a joke, but you can. It's the perpetual war. There's always an enemy. Oh, fun fact. I don't know if you knew this. You know how after 9/11, the Patriot Act was able to be passed, and the intelligence agencies were able to be given this level of power that they now have, that they never had before, because Bush signed a national emergency proclamation that has been authorized every single year, and I mean every single year, by Bush, and then Obama, and then Trump, and guarantee you, by Biden. Every single year. You can Google this. Look up continuation of the national emergency with respect to certain terrorist attacks. And then any year after 2001, and you will find an official document by the government with the signature of the president saying, I think that there is still a national emergency in regards to terrorism, as in and this is specifically dedicated to domestic terrorist attacks by foreign terrorists. So 9/11 level.
Yeah.
They literally are signing, I think this can still happen, therefore I am declaring another state of emergency to keep going for another year.
Yeah, it just all goes back
and this continues the powers of the intelligence agency. Every single year. Every year, no matter what. Ridiculous.
Just, all goes back to fear. I guess that's also another way that they're telling on themselves still. It's insane. And
well, they can tell on themselves because nobody checks them.
Yeah.
Nobody checks them. Nobody goes, hey, now, what are you doing?
Democracy is dead.
Because nobody gives a fuck. Democracy is dead. Fucking journalism is dead. Everything's fucking dead.
It is within the interest of the people in power to keep the electorate complacent in terms of, the NSA and surveillance and monitoring. And but that quote that you read by Frank Church, that's fucking terrifying. That's awful.
Yeah. That was a senator.
We came so close.
That was a senator who knew classified information.
Yeah. And we were so close, even in just Trump's term, if he was just a little smarter to a tyrannical government. Not saying that we
That's
don't
why
already...
people call him a crypto-fascist, because if he was any smarter or had any real ideals, he would have gone full tilt.
Yeah. Scary shit.
Not to get political like you didn't want to, but
okay, we can get.
So there's no segue to this. I don't know if there's a segue to this, but
it's okay.
It's short, but one of the another scary thing is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which was enacted in 1978, again around the same goddamn time of the Church Committee and the end of Shamrock. This act allowed intelligence agencies to force, and I mean force, private communication businesses to giving them information and giving them access to their information. So the quote is, quote, "The act provides procedures for the government to certify the legality of an acquisition program, for the government to issue directives to providers to provide data or assistance under a particular program, and for the government and recipient of a directive to seek from the FISA court, respectively, an order to compel provider compliance or relief from an unlawful directive. Providers receive costs and full immunity from civil suits for compliance with any directives issued pursuant to the act.
Is
so
that
this
the
means
pretense? Like, what is the pretense?
Terrorism.
Oh, in big air quotes there.
Big air quotes, obviously. Yeah, this just has to do with anything pretty much. This also has to do with a warrant thing. They don't really need a warrant. If the comms begin or end in a foreign country, the agency does not require a warrant. They removed electronic from the comms definition. So instead of electronic comms, it's just comms. And therefore, a lot of critics say that this could be used to justify search and seizure, monitoring, tailing, bugging, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And so, get back to the quote. The quote, what that means is that they can force these companies to give them information or give them access to information and then be like, here's money for it and here's immunity if we fuck up and this turns out to be illegal. So,
Damn.
and the agencies already have fucking immunity. And failure to comply with these, you can appeal to the court, but the court rarely convenes and is just a rubber stamp, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Failure to comply in a failed appeal results in charges of contempt of court to the company. So, like, if you don't comply, you get in trouble, like big legal trouble. So, pretty much,
that was the Reagan era, right?
Force. This was made in 78, but it's still in effect. It is
that's
quite
big.
fun.
That's like
quite fun.
That sucks. Like, I don't even know.
Yep.
Like, is that a form of? That's not even like good. That's regulation that does not benefit the people. I feel like every employee is just fucked.
It really just seems like every bit of supposed regulation that has happened is to the benefit of these people, to these agencies.
Yeah.
I also want to add in, for listeners, when Nate and I say deep state, we mean very specifically, intelligence agencies run by normal people.
Yeah.
We are not talking about some fantastical deep state run by fucking lizards. We are not talking we are not talking about shit that neo-Nazis talk about. We are talking about very specific organizations that do not have oversight. I want to make that very clear.
Thank you. I guess that is a good point to make. I didn't even cross my mind because I don't think about it in that way. So you shouldn't either.
Well, yeah, it's exactly, yeah. But there are unfortunately a lot of people who say deep state and they mean some very bad things and very oftentimes anti-Semitic things. And it's horrifying and evil to say those things.
Yeah,
that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about very specific people and very specific organizations.
Yeah, when I think of deep state, I'm thinking of like the branch that killed JFK and shit. Yes,
and MLK and Malcolm X and Fred Hampton and
right. Going back to like more, not going back, bringing it forward to more modern concerns about surveillance and like the public watchful eye. You probably all know, this was just something I researched because I thought it would bring in some viewers. We could put it in our description. But Boston Dynamics, that's like a big, basically household name company. And you probably have all seen their like animal like design robots. Like they have their dog Spot one. I think they have like bipedal robots as well.
Yeah, they got a humanoid one.
And obviously
their videos, by the way, are terrifying.
I know.
Like,
okay, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get into.
You watch those, but like, it's not even just terrifying. It's like their robots move in such a way that even their promotional videos are so also overproduced.
Yeah,
it looks CGI.
Yeah,
and I can't tell if the robots are real or not because the movement is so fucking smooth. Like there's a video of the bipedal ones, the humanoid ones, and Spot dancing.
Yeah,
it's like insane.
But like that's the thing, the marketing aspect. Cause like to you and me and to like people that watch that and then like take a step back from it, it's scary. It's a scary, not cool thing. But like their marketing is like, look at how cool this is. The future is now. But also you have to consider the implications. So like obviously all these robots. What?
The implications. I'm just referencing Dennis. Okay. I'm sorry.
Like obviously these robots need some sort of visual interface, you know? So they all have cameras in order to see where they're going. Mm-hmm. So this can lead to the question, well, is what they're seeing, in quotes, recorded? And like, what is that recording being used for?
Oh, God, yes.
And like, could this be used to surveil me? Or could this be used, you know, like in Amazon facilities to like make sure workers are always working? And like the actual 1984 shit.
Like, actual 1984 shit. Yeah, Jesus Christ. But like, if you think, like, you got to think about it, like, yeah, are they recording? But then also, those robots are so complicated that how would we know if there's a little broadcast device in it that is taking the recording and beaming it back to who knows who?
Yeah.
This is paranoia talking, but like, in reality, I mean, like, I don't see it. I don't think it's that far off. Like, that's... Yeah. They would use... What they would do is it would be like... you know how computers and games and whatever have the, like... Do you consent to being, like, your activity on this being monitored for, like, customer feedback and, like, improving the system and whatnot?
Right.
They could fit it under the guise of that.
Yep.
And can keep anything, any input into the robot, you know?
Yeah, so I read an article about Boston Dynamics, and it's kind of recent, from 2019, but it seemed, I don't know, kind of damage control-y maybe, but they talked a lot about how surveillance and, here's a direct quote from one of the like head guys at Boston Dynamics, but they do not allow in any of their sales clauses for implementations of their robots that would physically harm or intimidate. So
some iRobot shit.
Yeah. So that's like very Isaac Asimov, you know. But the thing is, in the article, it also says that robot technology could be a valuable tool for law enforcement, which is, you know, just goes back to the same argument from before. Like, is this for your safety? Are you electing for this? Or, you know, is it just intimidation and power?
Imagine how worse policing would be in, like, poor minority neighborhoods if they were just fucking robots. Well, actually, you know what?
Exactly. That's the other thing you have to think about.
Maybe it'd be better because you wouldn't have these racist-ass fucking cops.
Maybe.
Like, but I mean, hey, they'd probably, if it's AI, behind. The robots would probably, well, true. And then if you're programming an AI, as we well know with all of the fucking internet AIs we've had to deal with becoming racist.
Yeah.
Gotta fucking maybe deal with a goddamn robot cop becoming Hitler, you know?
Also in the article, Thor Eels was quoted, and he's the executive director for the National Tactical Officers Association and a former SWAT commander.
Gross.
He was like on the side of, no, we don't want this to be surveillance. This is like for critical cases, like these robots are only designed to go to places where humans can't go, where like it would put a human in danger. Like we are only collecting
like bombs and
we're only collecting information that a human could otherwise not collect themselves. Like that's basically what he was saying. And then at the end of the article, a lieutenant on a spec ops team wrote to a colleague about a New York Post article about Boston Dynamics. He sent it to one of his friends, and he said, dude, it's time. We got to get one of these. So, you know, fucking the police are going to do what they want to do with this technology. Yeah. We, as the citizenry or citizenship, can't elect, you know, to have this surveillance implemented. And the company doesn't really have a say either.
Well, they're just following the money. They're just big government contracts that are overinflated. Yeah, they're just...
Right.
They don't care.
And that kind of goes nicely to the next company that I want to talk about, which is the... what's this guy's company name? Palmer Freeman Luckey, the founder of Oculus VR, now has a, like, defense company... called ZeniMax, I think. Or no.
What a weird transition.
Yeah, dude. I don't know.
Oculus to fucking defense?
I really wish I would have read his Wikipedia page and like researched him more, because I just watched some like interviews, but I think some
terrifying?
shady shit happened, and like a subheading in his Wikipedia is firing and political controversy, ZeniMax lawsuit. So I don't know what the fuck this guy is about.
Jesus Christ. It's terrifying to hear about that because I have an Oculus.
Yeah.
I have an Oculus Go.
It scanned
it's
your
sitting
retinas,
right next to me
bro.
right now. And even when my dad, like, because my dad got it for me for Christmas, he splurged a little bit because he didn't do anything for my birthday, which I don't care about birthdays or Christmas, and I don't ever expect gifts. But he felt bad, and it's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But even when he handed it to me, he was like, leave it in another room. I'm not sure these things aren't just listening to us. Because sometimes I'll just hear it do its little ding ding of like,
oh God,
turning
what?
on, or like that it's on randomly.
What the?
And it does have a mic.
Huh.
And I don't know how I feel about that. So I tend to keep it in another room. I just was playing it last night, so I have it right next to me, and it was charging. But I usually keep it in another room because I'm like, I actually am a fairly paranoid person.
Yeah. I feel like I should
when
be
it comes
more.
to like surveillance. I wish I had gone more into research into the effects, the psychological effects of a surveillance state.
Maybe we could
and
do a
how
part
people
2.
feel about it.
Yeah.
I think we should, because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
If we can find anything.
So more on Palmer Luckey. So anyway, I think the controversy. This guy Palmer Luckey, the Oculus guy, he co-founded a defense technology company called Anduril, Anduril Industries, in June 2017. And I think the whole controversy shit was about him donating to a pro-Donald Trump group.
As business people do.
Yeah, and like his whole focus on his defense industry shit is to intercept. They do like a lot of like intercepting drones, so drones that will destroy other drones, and like border security. He's very concerned about illegal immigrants, but a lot of the
of course,
a lot of the interviews I watched of him, he was literally just following the money. He's like, it's not my place to say. I'm just gonna take the fucking money. I don't care. And like, he was like
this stupid amoral attitude.
Yeah, he was like super into making the drones more efficient and more effective for like scanning areas and not having to stay in a certain location. And like increasing their battery life so that they could roam and like be on the attack as well as the defense. I don't know. His whole disposition was very unsettling. And we can put the interview I watched in the description.
All right.
And then the last thing I wanted to talk about the robots was the GroundBot, which you have probably seen as like the ball with the 2 cameras sticking out the sides. That is like powered off.
Yeah.
I just thought that was very scary when I first saw it, but like goes back again to the marketing thing. Like, this is cool. Like, this is for your safety.
Yeah, I don't want to be one of those people who's like, Black Mirror is coming true, but it just
shit, I was gonna
the
say
episode.
that.
Yeah, Black Mirror. Like,
I did have that in my notes.
Our brains have been sinking lately. I said CIA before you, and now I said Black Mirror before you.
Yep. You're getting to me, Will.
Yeah. Fuck, what was I gonna say? I don't want to be one of those people, but it's the episode where they're like the roaming AI bots that were like just murdering people.
What the hell?
And it was like this post-apocalyptic. Have you not seen that episode where it's like
I haven't seen
these
most
little
of
like dog bots? There's these little like dog bots that are
like
just
spots
hunting people, and it's
like Boston
I can't remember
Dynamics?
if that's what they look like. Right. I can't remember exactly what they look like. I think they look like Spot. But there's other robots in other episodes, so I'm mixing the visuals up. But it's a post-apocalyptic episode of people. A lot of people are dead, and people are trying to survive, and they're specifically trying to avoid being seen by these bots, who, when they see people, will launch out this flak that is tracking bits.
Oh, geez.
And the people will get like, and they'll get like hit with a bunch of tracking bits, and you can't dig them all out.
Yeah.
And then they'll have to like run for the rest of their life from these dogs.
Jeez, dude.
These like robot dogs. It's fucking terrifying.
Probably not
and
far off. I don't know.
I just fucking. I mean, that coupled with the fact that this country's definitely going down the shitter in like fucking 20 years. Goddamn.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Like some anecdotal things. I watched some more videos on like government surveillance worldwide, and I thought it was really funny because I watched this TED Talk, and one guy in the audience was wearing Google Glass, and like the camera kept going back to him. I was like, oh my God, of course. And like that's the thing too. Like now companies are incentivized to spy on us, and like I have 2 Google Homes in my house.
Yeah, because the government's buying government's buying the information. So why wouldn't companies cash in? On there's no overhead. They already have the information. They could just sell it for no extra cost.
Yeah, so
it's this not to sound like a fucking leftist.
It's true, like though.
A shitty Twitter leftist. It's capitalism.
Yeah.
It's just
capitalism
my God.
incentivizes all of this amoral shit. It really does. There's no defense of it. But so I got interested in like internet security then because I have 2 Google Homes and like I'm on my phone and computer all the time. So I was like, maybe I should get a VPN. But apparently that doesn't even work.
And that's a segue into our spot. No, not
yeah, no, I fucking wish I had ExpressVPN on our side. I would definitely plug the shit out of them. Or like NordVPN.
Yeah.
Actually, NordVPN was
Please
like one of the only
us.
ones that was like, this one actually is pretty good.
Sponsor us in our 20 views per episode.
Yeah. Making pennies, baby.
Exactly.
But yeah, apparently like VPNs are under no obligation to not sell your data. Like if a company really wants your data or like the government still wants to mine you, they'll just go to the VPN companies.
That's one of the reasons I don't have it. Now, I mean, this is how we don't get an ad for any VPN. That's one of the reasons why I don't have a VPN is because, okay, cool, the ISP doesn't know what I'm looking up, but
the VPN still does. Yeah.
You still have that documentation. You still keep that information.
Yeah.
And I have literally no way of knowing because that's the thing, too. I'm pretty sure if a fucking communications or information business company sells information to the government, that is classified.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we can't know.
Right.
We can only know if it gets big and if some actual journalist figures it out, and then there's a stupid fucking Senate hearing that goes nowhere. That's the only way we figure these things out. Like with the fucking Zuckerberg.
Right. We need like a class action.
Like a fucking robot.
Or like some democratic uprising.
Zuckerberg is the Boston Dynamics prototype.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That motherfucker. Creepiest piece of shit I've ever seen in my life.
So yeah, I just have some quotes from articles I was reading that have to do with like VPNs. And this one guy was like, we shouldn't have to buy trust as an add-on service to like using the internet and communications. It should just be a default service, but like we have to worry about it, and we have to jump through the hoops of like just digging our pockets out, you know. And then another article was talking about how a guy was like offering to sell his browsing history to eBay because like we can't make money off of our data even though we're using the internet every day. Like we never see a cent of that data that we're providing.
God damn it.
And then another guy was starting a campaign to buy the internet histories of legislators.
Yeah, I would fucking love that.
Which, I mean,
yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
If that didn't seem like a one-way ticket to jail, I would definitely do that.
I was about to say, hey, how about if we don't have privacy? How about literally everything from everyone, even legislators, is all of their browsing history is 100% public and you can look it up. If I can't have privacy, then how about you can't have privacy and we get to see what you're fucking Googling? But I wouldn't trust them to actually, even if, obviously it wouldn't happen, but even if they were to do that for some God who knows why reason, obviously I wouldn't trust them to actually be honest.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like, I don't trust this legislation.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what we legislate towards this stuff, I don't trust it because there's nothing obligated. They review themselves.
Yeah.
They are the law. There is no obligation.
It's the cabal.
Yeah. It is a fucking cartel. It is just, literally, too, with the drug war. But
not to cut you short, but the last thing I was thinking of, I didn't have time to research, and I didn't want the episode to run too long. Maybe we could put this in like a part 2 if we do like a the psychic effects of constant surveillance. Was like, you know how like Nest and Ring services are like home protection services that are provided by like an outside source, Google Nest and shit. Like they could just easily sell the data that they're capturing, and they're like, you put the cameras in your own home for them to spy on you. Potentially.
Hold on, let me find this real quick. There was a story about security.
Like that's not closed circuit.
Home.
So anyone security. Could, even like not the government, not the deep state, not the companies. Anyone could hack into your Nest or your Ring, or whatever, what have you, and like impair your security. So
yeah,
that is the last thing I had to say. It would take too long to find,
but there was a lawsuit. Can't find it right now, but one of those home security companies, one of their employees had been hacking into like over 100 people's.
What?
Like so, like what it is, the app that lets you view the cameras has like an inner circle thing where it's like there are accounts on it that have access to the cameras. So like for your family.
Yeah, makes sense.
And he was going in and secretly adding his email.
Oh my God.
Onto those lists.
Yeah, easy to do.
Either secretly or he was pretending to be an IT guy. He would email them and pretend to be like an IT guy and be like, I have to do this real quick. And then he wouldn't take it off.
Oh my God.
Over like 100 people. And he was just like watching them change and fuck and go about their day. And yeah, there is nothing stopping these companies. Don't trust companies.
Ugh.
God damn.
God damn, we're idiots. God damn, God damn. We're idiots.
God damn, we're idiots.
You're
the government's
idiots.
You're idiots.
I don't know what else to say.
I got nothing else. Yeah.
Thanks for listening, y'all. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it out. Write us a review.
Please.
It would mean a lot.
Please share it out. And we're going to try to do better ourselves of promoting our own fucking show. But please just do us the just slight favor of just sharing. We beg of you a crumb. A crumb of promotion.
It might seem like we're having a lot of fun doing this, but we're not.
But we hate each other.
we need validation. Nah, this is fun, and we love you guys, all 9 of you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm your one idiot host, Nate.
And I'm your other abnormally idiotic host, Will.
Thanks for listening, folks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.